Hello everybody, today we have a spicy episode of r/MaliciousCompliance. I hope you enjoy. No food in the classroom. Not my story, but a friend's. He had a professor in college who would occasionally go on a rant about some of the items from Taco Bell don't even technically classify as food by some standards, though not often it was a passionate rant. The day after one of his rants, a student brought in a bag of food from Taco Bell. The professor objected. There was no food allowed in my classroom. Oh boy. The student held up the bag to show the logo and said, "Don't worry, it's not food," and took a bite of a taco whilst maintaining eye contact. After a moment of surprise, the teacher admitted defeat with a polite but disgusted nod. The next day, he directed the student's attention to a revised syllabus, specifically the new rule, no food or Taco Bell allowed at any time in the classroom. Given that the class was Introduction to Law, the teacher gave him extra credit. Good on the teacher for handling it well, at least. I mean, this kid did do a pretty good malicious compliance. He complied. He's not wrong. If it's not food, he's what it. But, good on the teacher for not freaking out over it. Our next story is, yes, I will tweet exactly what you said. Told this story to a friend, and they said I should post it here. I used to work in publishing, and part of my job was managing our company's social media accounts. When we were running a campaign for a specific book, we would supplement that campaign by tweeting about it. It usually had no provable impact on sales, but would make the author happy. I was running a campaign for a big non-fiction author. I initially had no contact directly with the author, but drew up a social calendar with suggested content and timings and sent it through the lead marketer. I heard nothing back, so I started tweeting as planned. I was then told by the lead marketer that the author wanted us to tweet more. I was happy to do that, but needed to balance that with 20 other books we were publishing that week. So I suggested we do 2 more tweets at peak times, but that I would need some new content because tweeting the same message over and over again is not particularly effective, especially for non-fiction. Now, at this point, the author found my work email address online and decided to email me directly. I then received 4 emails in 15 minutes, in all caps, badly spelled, and bright red, I kid you not, telling me all the things I was doing wrong. Apparently, this author wanted to market his 800-page history book as a sensational romance-filled family epic. We included some marketing on this side, but we were still making it clear that this was a history book, not a fiction one. He wanted to skip that bit and mislead people into thinking it was historical fiction. This dude just wants to lie to get people to read his book. If you wanted people to read a sensational romance, family-filled epic, write one. Okay. I don't understand the logic in this dude. The author proceeded to dictate 10 tweets to me that he wanted me to tweet that day. I went to ask the lead marketer if this was in line with our campaign, and she told me to do whatever he asked. In the time it took me to speak to the lead marketer, the author emailed me an additional 5 times, escalating massively each time, and ultimately telling me he would get me fired if I didn't do this right now and post exactly what he told me to post. So I did that. I posted each of his requested tweets exactly as I had sent them to me. None of them had links to purchase, none of them had images, several of them had spelling mistakes, and he consistently spelled his own Twitter handle wrong. When he complained, I forwarded the series of abusive emails he had sent to me to the head of marketing, and he was banned from ever communicating with the marketing staff outside of his lead again. I did get a bit of side-eye, but I was told to just delete the tweets and ignore any further emails from him. Did exactly what he told her. Yeah, did exactly. I mean, she's not wrong. She tweeted what he told him to tweet, so I mean, I don't see anything wrong with this. Can't sit down without a doctor's note? Okay then. So since some 11,000 people liked my last story of malicious compliance at work, I have another. At the time, I worked in a cafe set over 3 floors, so my day generally consisted of 10 hours running up and down stairs. I had slipped on some spilt motor oil in the car park on my way home, and my ankle had bent underneath me. I had initially assumed I'd just twisted it, but several hours later, it was still throbbing, as well as swelling up so much that it looked like I was hiding a pair of golf balls under my sock and turning a deep shade of purple. As my next shift started in less than 12 hours, and we were short-staffed as it is, I didn't want to call in sick, but I knew there was no way I'd be able to stand/walk on it for a whole day. I called my manager to explain and to ask if I could A, switch to the register for a few days, which involved much less walking than my regular role, and B, borrow one of the bar stools to sit on behind the counter so I wasn't putting too much weight on it. I figured this wouldn't be a problem, as we had other staff who could cover the floor, and there's no issues with access around the register that the chair could get in the way of. I was wrong. Manager insisted that he wouldn't sign off on me having a chair with a signed doctor's note verifying my injury, even after I sent him photos of my wrecked ankle. As the GP was already closed, I headed to the 24-hour walk-in clinic. An x-ray and a lot of poking and prodding later, the doctor told me I had to ice it every few hours until the swelling went down, which took almost a week, and keep all weight off for at least a week, and wear a brace for another 2 weeks after that. When I explained what I did for a living, the doctor presented me with a lovely note explaining that I shouldn't be at work at all for the next 7 days. I wish I could have seen my manager's face when I called to explain that I didn't need the chair after all, as actually I wouldn't be in work for the rest of the week and most of next week. Doctor's orders. Funnily enough, I was never asked to produce a doctor's note again for the rest of the time I worked there. Good job. I mean, doctor's note me freaking destroyed. Would have actually been in work, but now you don't even get any work for a week. God, I'm good, gamers. Let's go. What am I saying? Hats off to the Subway employee. Was in Subway earlier this week for lunch and had a guy ordering a couple subs in front of me. First 2 subs are nothing special, but he is looking at his phone and talking on his Bluetooth in between customizing the first 2, so he is sort of inattentive. For the last sub, he just says, "Put everything on it," and walks toward the cash register to wait. The employee confirms a couple of the ingredients with him people don't usually get, like onions do, both giardiniera and sliced jalapenos. He doesn't even look at what she's doing, but calls out in an annoyed tone if it's on the line and put it on the sandwich, before he goes back to his Bluetooth conversation. She looks annoyed, but tops off the rest of the veggies and then moves to the sauce. Without even thinking, maybe she was tired, maybe she didn't give a fuck, she proceeds to take each sauce and put 1 serving of each across the whole sandwich. Bluetooth guy doesn't notice what is going on, and since Subway has like 8 different sauces, the sandwich is starting to look like a sloppy mess, considering all the toppings and what probably is a half cup of sauce. She finished it off with a vinaigrette and oil just to fuck up with the bread even more before wrapping it and sending him on his way. He left with them all, so I have no idea what his reaction was or if he came back to complain, but I guarantee he or whoever that sandwich was for would have to eat it with a fork and knife because there was no way the bread would hold up all that liquid. I can just imagine him going home and be like, "Yes, my everything sandwich," and just whipping out like a massive fork and massive knife and just cutting up into bits and then putting it in like an oven or something, and then just eating all of the pieces of one bite, or in one bite, just eating them all in one sitting. He's like, and calls back, he's like, "Thank you so much for that everything sub," and they're like, "What? Were you the guy that ordered everything on his sub?" And he's like, "Yeah, that was me. Thank you so much, that was delicious." He's like, "You actually like that? The thing had like 8 sauces on it. Are you insane?" Above my pay grade. More petty than malicious, but very satisfying. I'm a manager at a logistics company, and am assigned monthly audits, which are fairly time-consuming. One news that we have where I am is that some of our office admins sometimes act entitled and like to push work to other people. This month, my audits involve outside vendors and details about the contracts that we have with them and making sure everything is compliant. The only person with access to the information I need is one of our 4 front desk admins. I should mention that there is a lot of animosity between the office staff and everyone that works on our loading dock, because the people in the office tend to get a lot of extra little perks: lunch and dinner paid for them daily, holiday parties, nice new equipment, and furniture. This morning, I asked her to pull the files on the contracts that I need. She asked for the list, which is online and easily accessible. The one I printed out was with our senior manager, who happened to be in a meeting. He was the one that told me to have her pull all of this info this morning anyways. She told me that she needs the list, so I told her that she could pull it up on site, which she does for all of her work friends that she needs to pull the files for. She put with, "You need to hand me that list because it's above my pay grade to do that." Jesus, entitled much. I already did about 75% of the audit already and had it photo online. It's a simple 3-click away for her, but the way she proudly proclaimed that it wasn't her job to pull files that she put together for an audit on her job really pissed me off. I happily printed the list out for her, but only after erasing everything that I did already, so she had to search through dozens of filing cabinets and hundreds of files for all 50 that I need now instead of just 12 or so. Again, not quite malicious, but satisfying that she gets to spend an extra hour or more of her day looking for info that I already have instead of shopping on her phone while she's at work. Good job. Yeah, this is more kind of petty revenge. It's like a mix of petty revenge and malicious compliance, but I guess it kind of belongs here. So my wife subscribes to this subreddit, and after some crap that's been going on at work, I felt like this would be the best place to share. To give a little backstory, I work at a medical facility, and the company is a very large employer in the immediate area. My wife and I both work for this company, albeit at separate locations. I work at the main facility, which is a significantly large campus in the next town over. This is a busy place. It's a large hospital, and I work nights. This is all relevant. Night shift and swing shift, or pretty much anyone starting at or after 4 p.m. is allowed to park pretty much anywhere. This is because most of our facilities are shut down and not accessible to patrons or visitors. The parking lot most of my coworkers and myself park in is actually next to a series of offices that were recently relocated, so it's even more empty and useless space than usual, especially at night. Out of nowhere, all the employers parking in this area are getting tickets from the company. It's patient parking, and employees must park in employee-designated areas, which are, of course, the gravel pit that's about a 20 to 30 minute walk from the main facility, or the back 40 that are just as far, just on a different side of the campus. Because the weather has been shit, and because I received a compliance warning ticket, I emailed my department manager and said I would be happy to follow the parking policy. So tonight, technically last night, I only just got home. I drive my happy little self to work, and I park a good 20 minutes from the main entrance. Then I called our security team. You see, our facility has in place a policy that at any time, literally any of the 24 hours in the day, any patient, visitor, or staff member may call the security office and ask for the courtesy shuttle to pick them up and escort them to any of the facilities on campus. So I did, and I let them know where I was parked, under a marked streetlight, very helpful, and told them I would be waiting for them to escort me to my main entrance. Waiting for my escort to the main entrance. You see, our facility has in place a policy that at any time, literally any of the 24 hours in the day, any patient, visitor, or staff member may call the security office and ask for the courtesy shuttle to pick them up and escort them to any of the facilities on campus. So I did, and I let them know where I was parked, under a marked streetlight, very helpful, and told them I would be waiting for my escort to the main entrance. They came after warning me that I shouldn't rely on them, and I let them know that if it was an issue, they were welcome to provide to me, in writing a reason why, so I would be able to in turn provide that to my supervisor. And this morning, at the end of my shift, I called and asked for someone to meet me at the main entrance, so I could be escorted back to my vehicle. This is the person I aspire to be. When I was dropped off at my car this morning, I asked if the security officer would be back tonight. We'd been making small talk, and I was being a bit of an ass. I told him I would be back and would be calling again, if he wanted or needed to pass it on. Again, I was told that security is busy and has other concerns. I told him I would continue to park in the employee parking spaces, but given the unsafe weather conditions, I would be relying on security to escort me to and from the building, per our company's policy and procedures. I reminded him that any accident on company property whilst I was either on my way to or out of the door from work is still covered under workman's comp, and let him know I would see him tonight. Pretty sure security does have much larger concerns, but until policies actually sit in ink that nights/evenings are exempt from the employee parking rules, I plan on continuing to be a compliant little asshole. Pretty wholesome, pretty malicious compliance. Alright, good story to end on. It's good. I like this. Thumbs up. This gets a good out of 10. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. See ya.